Geoff, let's take a look at Royal Troon itself. The breeze coming off the sea there from the west-southwest. It blows mostly down breeze in the front nine, but boy, the back nine is an absolute beast.
Yeah, it's a fascinating course, Troon. It's sort of almost a tale of two courses. It's an out-and-back course like a lot of these links courses are. It sort of starts in town, goes all the way out and then heads back. And as you said, the first 6 or 7 holes are pretty straightforward. They generally play downwind, lots of birdies that you really need to make, because once you get through the first 7 holes, if you're not under par, you better hang on. I mean, 8's obviously the postage stamp, famous little par 3, which is not that difficult.
Yeah, the par 3 8th, the postage stamp, you mentioned the first hole that goes back into the breeze at Royal Troon. It should be as easy as 1, 2, 3, Paul, which is the yardage. It's 123 yards.
It is 110, 111 metres. Can play up to 90 metres, well, down to 90 metres there. But any hole that's got a bunker there called the coffin, it must be difficult. And the green sits up. It has got a little protection from a hill on the other side. But as Geoff said, if you miss that green, you're in all sorts. But there's been some magnificent shots there over the years.
What about this one from 71-year-old Gene Sarazen, the little master, in his final appearance at a major, holes out in 1973, back into the breeze with a 5-iron, as it turned out. And then the big South African himself, Big Easy, Ernie Els, also achieving the same feat.
Yeah, not going in with the 5-iron, the Big Easy, going in with something like a wedge, but you stand on that tee and all you want to do is just hit the middle of the green. And fortunate enough, he spun that back in. He's got the club right on that occasion, and I'm sure he's got a little bit of a momentum sitting at his house that I've holed out at the most famous par 3 in the world.
Geoff, we were talking about that front nine, whereas you have to do your scoring there in those first 7 holes in particular. Once you get, though, to the 11th, boy, it is game on. What a brute of a par 4.
Yeah, I mean, 11 is an incredibly difficult hole. Very scary tee shot too. You're teeing up, all you see is just a big wall of gorse. You've got to hit it over that gorse to a fairway that sort of sits at a diagonal angle. So you've got to pick your line and hit a great shot. You hit it in that gorse, you're back on the tee instantly. You're left with at 500-yard hole, this hole, 455 metres. It's a driver and a long iron with out of bounds on the right. Really, really scary hole, and definitely a candidate for one of the hardest holes in the world. And 18, this is a really good view of what links golf is really like. Just keep it out of the bunkers, as Finchy was telling us earlier. You've just got to find a way to hit it anywhere but in that sand. Then you can get it on the green. It's a relatively simple hole if you hit the fairway, but if, again, like links golf, if you hit it in the bunker, you're just going to hit it out sideways and you're going to have your third shot from where your second shot should have been. Tough way to finish. You've got to hit great shots all the way down the stretch. It
sets up beautifully, Geoff, this Open in 2024, given what we've seen already in the majors. It began at the Masters with Scotty Scheffler, just another pure ball-striking display.
Just incredible what Scheffler's doing at the moment. He's so far and away the best golfer in the world. Seemingly hits it next to the hole all day. He changed his putter earlier in the year, and it's just sort of a bolt of lightning. He's just making putts. And he is really, really hard to beat. Seems unflappable, always confident, takes it in his stride, even got arrested at the PGA and still shot 65 that day. I mean, this kid has his head on straight. He hits the ball better than everyone, and he hasn't had an unbelievable record, but he hasn't had that many chances at the Open. But a guy who hits it that well, the Open is very much a ball striking test. I think he'll be right there. He's going to be very hard to beat. And if you beat Scott Scheffler, you're going to have a good chance to win this tournament. Yeah. As I said, his stats are actually mind-blowing, how well he hits the ball. He's in contention every week. He might putt in one bad week and we're all a bit worried, and then he goes and wins the next 2 tournaments. He's won a pile of tournaments already this year, and I would think has to start this tournament the outright favourite.
No question about that. Scotty Scheffler, he would agree that the PGA at Valhalla was eventful for a lot of reasons, but locking up the trophy was Xander Schauffele, who finally, Paul, broke through for his first win in a major.
Yeah, we were waiting for this. This guy has got the complete game, and he's very methodical in the way he goes around about his business, and he couldn't break through like a David Duval couldn't there for a lot of years. But when he does, I think he'll be off, and he'll just keep contending in majors. And I think he showed a level of maturity. And all these guys, you know, Scotty Scheffler's at 25, Bryson DeChambeau at 30. That age of 30 years of age, which he is, I think he's come of age really in the game of golf, of mapping his way around and not making those little mistakes down the stretch. And through the PGA Championships, he didn't make any mistakes. He just got it all through. You know, he's 30 years of age. He turned pro. This is his 8th year as a golf pro, so he's starting to get used to it for sure. And you know, 16 cuts made this year. He's made $12.5 million basically. He's a good $10 million behind Scotty Scheffler, but he still had an amazing year. He's had a runner-up at the Open there in 2018. So he's not shy of major championships now.
And then let's move on to the US Open at Pinehurst, number 2. And the bunker shot that Bryson DeChambeau played at the 72nd hole to close it out in what was a thrilling battle on Sunday in that final round against Rory McIlroy, who had that shorty, Geoff, to try and force a playoff, as it turned out, with DeChambeau behind him.
Yeah, I mean, what a fun tournament to watch. I mean, Bryson, this bunker shot he hit on the last was incredible, but the golf he played all week, he was so fun to watch. He's hitting driver everywhere where it doesn't seem the right play, but he would get it way up next to the green. He was getting it out of the sandy wasteland stuff. He just looked so happy and excited to be contending in a major, and I don't think we've had as much fun watching a US Open for a while. It's usually a bit of a death march and everybody's just trying to hang on, but Bryson was making it incredibly entertaining. Rough finish, obviously, for Rory. But, yeah, Bryson, he's going to be interesting here in the Open. I mean, he's a very interesting golfer. He's probably thought about golf more than anyone else in the world, analyses it, works on his technique. I'm sure he's got some theories and some strategies to take to Troon.
Oh, there is no question about that. We looked at the Australian winners just a moment ago, but boy, over the years we have had so many near misses at the Open Championship, including Jason Day, I guess, last year. 6 shots back from Brian Harman, but they're in second place. Mark Leishman, he lost in 2015 at St Andrews. Adam Scott, 2012 at Royal Lytham. That one, a bit like Greg Norman at the Masters against Nick Faldo in 1996. A real stomach punch watching those last 4 holes, Geoff, the way they played out with a 4-shot lead, 4 to play, and 4 consecutive bogeys for Scotty.
Yeah, it was brutal. I mean, he'd outplayed the field all week. He was on a mission that time. He was grinding on his golf. He was playing really well. I mean, he's 4 shots in front with 4 to play. I mean, Ernie Els did have a birdie, but Adam bogeyed the last 4 holes. And it's just, it shows you how difficult it is to win these majors. These courses are difficult. You've got to hit great shots. You've got to make the putts down the stretch. And unfortunately for Scotty, it didn't work out that time. But 9 months later, he went and won the Masters as a little bit of a consolation prize. Maybe you have to lose one like that before you can go win one. Not everyone does, but he goes and wins the Masters to sort of soften the blow of losing the Open. But he definitely would love to win an Open. Probably feels like he's got a little bit of unfinished business, because 4 shots in front with 4 to play is feeling pretty good in the Open, and to not get it done, it'll still probably sting a little bit.
He's on a major streak at the moment. He's now going to be playing his 93rd consecutive major, Paul. It was a close thing at the US Open. Yep. He almost missed out in playing at Pinehurst for the US Open, but here he is. He's played in 23 years of majors consecutively.
It has been an amazing run, and our own Cam Davis could have actually taken him down. You know, well, he did in the US Open qualifying there, but he got in as the first alternate, and he's had such a consistent career in golf with that beautiful golf swing. His putting's come of age. I'll tell you what, he's doing that a lot better. 43 years of age, and I can tell you, Adam Scott's still thinking of winning this golf tournament. There's no doubt. He's played some really good golf this year without winning. He'll be quietly confident that he'll contend this week, because he loves that environment.
43 is the new 33, given the condition he's in. He's looked after his body throughout his career, quite obviously, and he will be in a chance. You would like to think there is one more major contention for Adam Scott before his career is done.
Yeah, I think so, and he's still hitting those types of shots that we're used to. You know, those skyrocketing shots that come in soft into greens. But he's been a great actually flighting his golf ball over the years, so expect more.
Geoff, Cameron Smith, a couple of seconds on the LIV Tour so far this year. It hasn't really clicked for him, though, on weekends in the majors in 2024.
No, it's hard. It's funny with Cam. I feel like sort of it's a different world playing out on LIV, obviously, than playing against Scheffler and Xander and those guys every week. So, but he played well at the Masters without really sort of ever contending. He was always sort of there on the bottom of the leaderboard. Didn't really play amazingly at the US Open. He's obviously a high-quality player, one of Australia's best chances to win a major anytime he tees it up. He loves the big moments. I feel like Cam is built for the big moments. His short game's outrageous. Clearly, 2 years ago, he won the Open at the Old Course, so he can do this tournament. He knows he can win it. So I think Cam's a chance. He just get off to a good start and just get that putter rolling.
And maybe going back to the Open is just the spur he needs. Jason Day, Paul, he'll be hoping to pick up from where he left off at last year's Open with that second placing to Brian Harman.
Yeah, I think so. Here's a guy that has changed his game. He obviously had to get his golf swing in check so he could be healthy enough to play the game. And this year's been a really consistent year. There's no up and downs for Jace. He's actually played really consistent. He's had 4 top 10s on the US Tour and looked good at different times. He looked good at the Masters this year. He looked good at the PGA at different times. So we know his short game is immaculate. When it all clicks, and he'd been working with Como, his coach there, and he wasn't quite sure at the Masters this year when it would come along. But I think it's just been progressing. So don't leave him out. He's really changed his game. He's remanufactured the way he plays the game.
Min Woo Lee playing in his 4th Open. Geoff, his form in this part of the world pretty good. He won the 2021 Scottish Open, of course. Maybe he saved his best performance in the majors till last.
Yeah, Min Woo's interesting. I mean, he's clearly one of the best players in the world. Everybody talks about this guy's going to start winning some big tournaments. As you said, he won the Scottish. He played in Europe a bit. He won the Scottish Open, so he likes links golf. He's had 3 pretty good majors this year without really ever contending. He's been sort of around 20th in all 3 majors, made all 3 cuts. He just finished 2nd in Detroit a couple of weeks ago, so he's finding a bit of form, loves this tournament and loves the stage. He's built to show off. He's built to sort of show everyone how good he is. Coming to the Open after a decent year in the majors, I think he's a real chance to do well.
And the big crowds, the atmosphere of an Open Championship as well. We know how he loves to entertain, and if he gets off to a good start, then look out over the weekend for Min Woo Lee. We saw Victorian amateur Jasper Stubbs in action at the Masters earlier this year, Paul. I mean, that experience will probably serve him well going into the Open.
Absolutely. I think it will help, just walking into the environment, knowing some of the players there, teaming up with the likes of Adam Scott and Min Woo Lee and Jason Day to have practice rounds and just learn. This is a real learning curve for this young man before he does turn pro. It's about time for him to turn pro after winning the Asian Amateur that got him status to play this week and for the Masters. So he's got a real tidy game. He's long off the tee. He can move the ball both ways. And I'll tell you what, when he won the Asian Amateur at Royal Melbourne last year, his putting was absolutely exceptional. His distance control with everything was fantastic. So he learned a lot from the Masters. Will he win this week? Probably not, but geez, he'll learn a lot.
And making it through the cauldron of Open qualifying for this year's championship, 22-year-old Queenslander Elvis Smylie. He's been a pro now, Geoff, for just over 3 years. He was a star amateur. It's been a bit of a learning curve for him, but boy, he can play.
Yeah, wow. I mean, we've been waiting for Elvis to sort of get to this point for a long time. We heard about him when he was very young. Incredibly solid golfer. Clearly some good golf DNA with his family. He's been coming and he's been coming. And finally this year in the Australian Tour, he had a really great summer. He made every cut, top 10 7 times. Now he's finally got himself into a major. It's going to be fun to see how he does.